Hi, I'm Samantha Kriegshauser from Adult Enrichment Centers, and today I'm here with Cassandra, my friend and coworker, and we're going to be talking about one of the hardest parts for caregivers, personal hygiene, and hopefully some tips and tricks that you can use that will help you in this part of the caregiving journey.
Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest question that comes to mind is, how do I get mom or dad in the shower? They don't want to shower. That's a hard one.
That is a hard one. So to put it in perspective, you have someone with Alzheimer's or dementia who is already feeling insecure. Eyesight is diminishing, sensory input is a thing, and now I may or may not remember all of the steps to hygiene. So in the early to middle stages, you can remind mom, and you can even set a schedule, and you can use prompts, and you can make sure that there are things in there for safety, like the bars and, a non-skid rug and lighting is adequate, those things. Right. And mom can still do that mostly on her own, but with prompting, making sure that the shampoo and all of that is within reach. Things that you can do to just kind of simplify it. Right. And you may, still give them the privacy and the dignity and be outside or be in the house, but you're aware that this is happening. If they live alone, mom, call me when you get out of the shower. And that works maybe in the early stages. But as we progress, we're going to want to shower less and less. And this becomes a trial for families. I've probably heard more arguments on this subject than any other. One, you've got to get okay with, they don't have to shower every day. I know that's an American tradition. That is not a medical necessity. It is okay if they shower every other day, or even if we get down to once a week. Remember, they're not running and playing in the yard like they did when they were little. They're probably not working up a sweat. They're not going anywhere. So having a full immersion shower once a week and getting a good scrub is okay. That is contrary to what we believe and practice in this country.
I heard you say it, but I'm just like, okay.
And it takes a while for me to get families to accept that is okay. Then it comes down to, well, she still refuses. So one, pick your battles. When was the time that they always showered? Did they take a shower every morning before work, or were they an evening shower? Try to go back in their timeline to what was familiar to them. And then two, what is the bathroom? The bathroom is the most sterile room in the house. It's where we put tile floors. There's not warm fuzzy under my feet. We don't want rugs in there because of a slip and fall. It's no soft surfaces are typically in a bathroom. In a living room, you have rugs and pillows and blankets. In a bathroom, it's cold, it's sterile. So make sure that the heat in the house or the air is set warm enough so that my person doesn't get chilled. And as we're older, we get cold. You always see old people, they're putting on sweaters and it's 82 degrees outside and they're still saying it's chilly in here. That's because the blood flow slows down. So make sure that the air temperature is appropriate to kind of help encourage your person that it's okay. Use that routine. Many battles have happened over showering. Don't fight. I will tell you a little secret. It is not the end of the universe if in the last stages of life all your person gets is a good old-fashioned sponge bath. Now, we want to get them in the shower as much as we can. But at the end of the day, we're back to quality of life. And is this the battle you want to have? Fear happens. Where do most falls happen in the home? Statistically, they happen in the bathroom. So if your person is afraid of falling, or God forbid, if your person has ever had a fall, that's going to make that risk and that fear of falling 100 times worse. And I'm afraid. But where are you the most vulnerable? In the bathroom. Why? Because you're naked.
Because, private.
It is. We don't let people in our personal space, and we have that innate privacy that says this is not how you see me.
Right.
And if something happens, if you were to have a fall, you're going to be found in your birthday suit.
Yeah.
And that's just a risk I'm not willing to take. So I'm just never going to be in my birthday suit again, ever.
Yeah.
And that sounds crazy, but that is a lot of times the mentality. I feel mentally, physically, and emotionally naked when I am in the shower or when I am undressing and changing clothes. And so that takes fear and it just makes it 100 times more real. So if you can, set the stage. Okay. Have everything out and ready. Have the washcloths. Have the soap in the dispenser. Have all of the stuff. Don't have to leave the room. Once you get started, we in it. 2, if you can, and depending on your person, you know, is there a song that you can sing? Which sounds silly, but it helps take some of the intensity out of it. Yes, because we're focused on talking about something. This is the time to have a conversation. If your person really needs silence to focus, then make sure that their hands are engaged. Give them a washcloth. Give them one of the little scrubby things and let them do what they can do. And in the meantime, you got to move fast. If you're the one who is helping them with showering, then your help may look like just being nearby and making sure that they do it, but they do it all themselves with prompts. Your assistance may be that you actually have to physically get involved in helping them get clean.
To get it
okay?
done.
So then you need to move fast. This is not the moment to be slow in particular. Let's get in, get it done, and move on.
Gotcha.
They may have a fear of the water on their face. So this may be the time that you need to invest in a handheld shower that never actually sprays them in the face. You know, Jesus invented dry shampoo, so it's okay if we use some of that. All of the tricks that you can use lavender scents if that helps calm them down. You know, if soft music playing kind of relieves anxiety, then do that. If they have a favorite washcloth, if you can put a chair in there. You know, sometimes showering is a big deal because I have fatigue and I can't stand long enough to do all of the things. So this may be where I need a shower chair.
True.
Make sure that if you can, they're not having to step into a tub. You know, they make a transfer chair and then they can stand up once they're in there. Only offer as much assistance as you need to. Okay. You know, if they're still capable of hitting high spots themselves and doing an okay job, then give them the dignity. You know, just turn your back to them and say, all right, Mom, I'm going to turn around. You take care of washing the lower side. And, you know, give her that moment of dignity and privacy. When the day comes that you have to do the entire shower for them, once again, give them dignity and privacy. You know, a lot of times if you just hand them a washcloth to cover themselves with, then they don't feel so exposed, so vulnerable. And it's always, always, always about dignity. We're not bathing a child. You're bathing a parent or a spouse. And we need to remember that dignity that comes with that. So have a plan. Get it all set up. Move in. And then give them as much ability to do what they can for themselves. We are at our most vulnerable at that moment. So maintain eye contact. Do what you can to put that dignity and that respect back in it. And this comes in when you are helping someone change after using the restroom. Okay? It's about the dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
So let them go in and do their business and then you step out. And you may have to step back in to help get them clean. And you may have to step back in. They can do that themselves, but you've got to help adjust their clothes. Put on things that are easy to get on and off. You know, you don't want your daddy, if he's always been a businessman in a suit, you don't want to put him in sweatpants 24/7, even though we both know sweatpants are easier to get on and off.
They work.
They do. They have their uses, but that may not be comfortable for him because it's not who he's been. But they do make a lot of assistive clothing nowadays that can make it easier. And it's about a conversation. If it comes down to the point where even helping someone with that personal toileting is a battle, that's when it gets really hard for families. You know, in our center, we have the ability to have a second staff come in and you would hold their hands and talk to them and maintain eye contact while I would go behind and do all of the hygiene. At home, if it's just me and them as a caregiver,
right,
how do I get that done without having a war and we both end up in tears?
Right.
You try and you do what you can. And one of the things I think that's hardest for caregivers is getting okay with it wasn't pretty, but it's done.
Didn't go quite the way I would have wanted it to go. Yeah.
And there is no right way to do it or wrong way to do it. This works for me.
Yeah.
And every family, every caregiver has their own little unique spin on how we get this done.
Because every person is different.
They are. And the mood that they're in is different. You know, if I've got a UTI, I may be especially combative.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that with that UTI, I've got to get changed and cleaned even more frequently.
Yeah.
So that becomes a battle in and of itself. So use all of the tools that you can. Ask other caregivers.
Yeah.
Research online. Use the latest innovations like, you know, those fast change clothes and those things. Always make sure that you have everything at the ready.
All your supplies.
Always. And then remember, if this is your mama or your daddy, there's a part of them that still knows you're the child.
Yes.
And it is never going to be okay, even though they may be grateful and thankful that you were there to do this. There is something that just feels innately wrong about my child having to do this for me.
Yes.
Okay? So you can, if they're capable, you can have that conversation. Mama, you did it for me when I was little, and this is my way of giving back to you, and I'm grateful that I'm here. That's what I said to my mama. And she cried, and she said, but you shouldn't have to do this, which just broke my heart.
Right.
Because while I didn't want to do it, there was joy in the fact that I was here and I was able to do it.
Yeah.
It was also hard. Now, what it's going to be when my dad needs that, I don't know. That father-daughter relationship is very different. And this may be where families bring in an outside person for that care if they can.
Yeah.
Sometimes having a stranger do it is easier both for you and for the person with dementia, because I'm okay if a stranger sees me in that vulnerable position rather than
versus
my child see me in that position. And that's something that every family has to evaluate. And once again, we're back to giving yourself grace, because some days you're just not going to master getting in the shower. You're going to decide enough is enough, and we're just going to walk away. And
it is okay not to take a shower.
We got clean underwear on, and we're going to call it done
today.
Yep. And you come back tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
But it's not worth fighting over, and it's not worth having a trauma over for you or the person to insist that I get this done today.
Right.
It's not the time. So we had someone who had had an accident, and she was in the restroom with the staff, and she was very embarrassed. She was very agitated because she knew she'd had an accident, but she didn't know what to do next. The staff tried getting her to where we could get her cleaned up, but she fought. So that staff called a second staff. And the second staff, now there were two of them in there.
Oh, boy.
And it's a small space, and it's a bathroom, and you got bright lights, and it's all sterile, and it's all white, and all of the things. And so now there are two staff in there. And she was very combative because I think she was embarrassed.
Yeah. And now there's two of you.
Yes, she knew something was wrong. She didn't know how to fix it. And now there's two people in her personal space trying to remove her clothing so they could get her cleaned up. So even though they were trying to help, they intimidated her, and she felt more fearful. So the more afraid she was, the more she fought.
Exactly.
So what they do, they opened the door and they called a third staff.
Oh, goodness. Ay.
So we hear a loud commotion. There's a lot of yelling from our person.
I can imagine.
Fighting them. She wants them to go away and leave her the heck alone.
Yeah.
And they are very concerned because she's had an accident and she's been in it now for a little while, and they know they need to get it off of her. And she was having no part of it. So eventually the buzzer goes off again. And by now everybody's aware we have a problem. I go. When I walked in that room, she's covered in poo. They're covered in poo. The room is covered in poo. Ain't nobody happy. Everybody's agitated. I thought all of them were going to cry.
Yeah.
So I ended up throwing everybody out, and I sat in the floor My client is up against the wall, just in a state. She's terrified. She's embarrassed. She's humiliated. All of the things that she couldn't express.
Yeah.
But you could see on her she was feeling. And while all of the girls were trying to do the right thing, it wasn't the right moment.
Right.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
They just didn't read the client in the right way. So we just sat. She sat on one side and looked at me, and I sat on the other side and looked at her. And we sat in silence. And after a couple of minutes, I kind of started to sing. And I don't know why, but I sang Row, Row Your Boat. Okay.
Okay.
I have no idea why. It was the first thing that popped into my head, and it's what I sang.
You're in a tough situation.
Sometimes I sing Jesus Loves Me. This time I sang Row, Row Your Boat.
It was a tough situation.
So when I started to sing, she you could see her physically kind of relax. She's still sitting on the floor. And it probably 10, 15 minutes, I don't know, I lost track of time. She relaxed. I relaxed. I moved over closer to her. Over time, I was able to get her to stand up. She did let me clean her up.
Good.
She wanted the help, but she didn't even know what she needed.
Right.
And so the approach was too much, too fast. And our concern as caregivers was, but she's got
cleaned up.
I have to clean her up. She can't walk around in this. It's not dignified. They were thinking of her dignity, and they were thinking of her personal care, but it still didn't work for her.
Right. Right.
And you're not going to get a skin breakdown in 30 minutes.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So if this is not your moment, then take a break, walk away, come back to it.
Yeah.
She did let me get her cleaned up. We got everything cleaned up, but everybody in the whole building was stressed out.
Frazzled.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the end, she didn't smile. She didn't say thank you. She was a tough cookie on any given day. But she did look at me, and she squeezed my hand.
Oh.
I think that was her way of saying, I feel better.
Yes.
Yes.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just imagine this is your person. If it's not going to happen naturally right now, come back in 10 minutes. Or send someone different if you have someone. You know, sometimes another family member or another caregiver can step in. Sometimes you can distract with a walk or whatever is appropriate at that moment.
Yeah.
And that might be where you introduce music.
Right.
Music is powerful. If it's something that is familiar to them, then it can help bring that anxiety level down to the point that then their brain can function on what do I need to do right now. So music is always my go-to. I've sung, and nobody should hear me sing, but I have sung with more clients to bring that anxiety level down than I can count.
And I would think just gift yourself time. That was perfect. That was in a center. That was not in Walmart, in the public restroom with the world who
and
is
that's
not
where
so
you
forget.
leave your
You know
buggy.
what I mean?
You leave your buggy and you go home.
Or Target.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just you leave when you can.
Yeah.
And you just park your buggy and you feel bad about it. And you walk out the door and you get your person home to where you can have this moment.
Yes.
Because a public restroom is not the place to have this moment.
Right.
If you are out in public, make sure that you always leave home with a go bag.
I was about
and
to
in
say,
that go bag is all of the supplies that you could possibly need and probably 5 or 6 that you don't think you need.
Yeah.
And everybody has one, and you take it with you everywhere you go. It's like when your kids were little and you had that diaper bag. You have a go bag for your person with a change of clothes,
just
with
in case.
the extra underwear or Depends or whatever it is that they're using.
Yeah.
All of the supplies to do a cleanup.
Yeah.
And then if you do have an emergency and there is no way to leave and get home, you feel more in control.
Right.
And once again, hit the high spots.
Oh, yeah.
Finish the job and get to the house.
Yeah.
But it's about getting through that moment.
Right. Right.
And caregivers have to know, you know what, if you're in public and your person is giving you a combative moment in the restroom while you're trying to clean them up, just be honest. Most people are very understanding.
Yeah.
You know, they make that card that you can hand out that says, I'm with a person with Alzheimer's or dementia. Please be understanding. You may not have that with you in that moment, but you can say that.
Right.
I find that most people are very understanding.
Yeah.
If you just own it and say, look, she's got dementia. I'm going to try to get her cleaned up. I'm sorry.
Right. Right.
Most people are pretty forgiving, and you may find a helping hand, which could really be useful in that moment.
Closed. Yeah. Yeah.
And then as fast as you can, you get out and you get everybody home. And hopefully by then your person's tired and wants to go take a nap, so you can too.
That's so true.
Hygiene
it's a lot. It is heavy. It can be heavy. Because the caregiver is doing the best they can.
So is the person with dementia.
All the time.
You have to remember that your person with dementia is doing the very best that they can. They're not being combative or difficult on
just
purpose.
Because. Yeah.
Okay? They don't understand what's happening. And you have to get okay with giving them time for that brain to catch up and then process what they can.
To get through. Get through.
But once you've started... If you started the process.
No, that's true.
Once you've started the process, you got to see the process through.
That's right.
Okay? And y'all may come out
very frazzled.
Hair on end and needing a glass of wine or whatever your thing is.
Yes.
But once you've begun the process, now you just got to stick with it and finish it.
Go ahead and do it. Yeah.
And you can go have a good cry or go call a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Do whatever you need to, and understand that pretty much every other caregiver has been in that same position.
Situation.
And if you can talk to someone, they will empathize because they get it.
They understand. Personal hygiene, not so personal all the time.
In the end of life, it almost never is.
It is.
Yeah, it's more like a group contact sport sometimes, but that's okay. You're providing what you can for the person. Yeah.
They're both, like you said, doing the best they can. Both parties. All right.
Thank you for joining us. Today we were talking about one of the biggest challenges for caregivers and the person living with dementia or Alzheimer's, and that is personal hygiene. You can learn more at our website, www.adultenrichmentcenters.org, or follow us on our YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.